I mean, okay, of course, that was work by Natsi Brew, and this morning we are going to talk about Farmers Day. Now, today, as Ghana marks Farmers Day, we are taking a moment to talk about something that actually touches all of us. We're talking about our food, we're talking about our farmers and the systems that keep this country fed. Our farmers work very hard every single day, but the truth is that our food system is facing real pressure from the weather, from rising costs, from distribution challenges, and even from our own eating habits. And this morning, we want to break things down in a simple and very honest way. How do we strengthen our farmers? How do we make sure Ghana can feed itself? And how do we even build a food system that keeps our people very healthy? And I have with me an organic agronomist and a soil management expert. His name is Dr. Daniel Basie Jr. Doc, good morning and welcome to the Business Breakfast on Z.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning to every listener. Good morning to viewers. Good morning to everyone. Thank you for inviting me and bringing me here for this discussion.
Great. And
I'm
thanks,
grateful.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you too for accepting to be here. Today's Farmers Day. Maybe we can start on that note. What does Farmers Day mean to you personally?
Basically, Farmers Day, it's a very special moment that the whole country, recognizes our gallant farmers to say a very huge thank you for what they've done for the entire year. Without farmers, there's no life. We need to appreciate all the work that they've done. Everybody knows that farming work is not a joke. Being on the open environment, on the hot sun, breaking your back to grow food for human beings to consume. Human beings, we cannot live without food, and food is key when you take water out of it. Therefore, it's a very special moment that we say a very big thank you for farmers all over the country. And when we are talking about farmers, I would like to also very quickly draw the attention of everyone that we are not only looking at crop farmers, farmers who are growing crops.
That's what people think. Immediately you talk about farmers.
Absolutely. We are also looking at livestock farmers. Livestock farmers, including poultry. And not only, let's also remember, and there's a trick, everybody don't even have attention on that, fishermen. Yes, fishermen.
Yeah.
Therefore, we are looking at all these fantastic and superhuman beings who are making sure they are culturing animals, they are culturing crops, and bringing it to we the consumers. Those of us that we are not into farming, those of us that we are into other professions, in the medical field, in the legal entity, in engineering, etc., etc. At the end of the day, everything that we do, we have to come back home, sit at the dining table and eat.
True.
If not, we need to eat somewhere, maybe at the workplace, maybe a very
restaurant.
special food joint. You normally go there to eat, and all these. We eat food, and where are these food coming from? It's coming from somebody that you don't know,
True.
who is really, like I really said, working on the field the whole day from morning to evening, throughout the week non-stop, and making sure you can still go have that food at that food joint. There's food at home. Anywhere that you want to find food to eat, there is food that you can eat. So it's a very big task. And like I said, it's a very huge thank you in a very huge capital letters to say, farmers, we appreciate. Without you, we don't have life.
Right. But why is this such an important celebration for Ghana?
Like I really said, human beings as we are, there are three entities that really support our life. Number one is the air that we are breathing. Number two is water. The third one is food. We can't do without these three. But even if we are saying that we can do without food, maybe for some hours, for some days, the Christocentric folks who go into spiritual exercise and say that, okay, I'm holding on to food for maybe some few days to seek the face of my maker. Even with that, when you break from fasting, you look out for food.
That's true.
And food does not necessarily mean that the big bowl of food with a lot of soup and a lot of meat and all that on it, but even the fruits that you consume,
Yeah.
said, okay, I'm breaking my fast, therefore I need to go lightly, take a little bit of fruit, and maybe the fruit will be okay for me, and then I continue the next day. The fruit is also cultivated by a very super professional that God has created called the farmer, who has cultivated that fruit. Therefore, we cannot, as a country, say that we will not recognize these superhuman beings. And also, in a very special moment, that we can also say that, look, Ghana as a country, our economy, the backbone of the economy, as everybody knows, everybody keep on saying that it's all about agriculture. Agriculture is employing about 67% of the entire population of the country. Therefore, the trade that we have in other countries in relation to agriculture, and very quickly it will come into the minds of everyone about cocoa. That is the most leading commodity that Ghana trade on the international market.
Yeah.
And cocoa is an agriculture crop. Cocoa is cultivated by professionals known as the cocoa farmers.
Yeah.
And we can't do that. We all understand and know how cocoa is so essential, so important for us as a country. The finance ministry cannot exist without cocoa, and we have a whole board called the Ghana Cocoa Board that is seeing to our cocoa industry, the whole country. And all these things, we are looking at them and we are seeing that even the economy itself cannot thrive, cannot be on its own, looking at other professions, looking at other businesses, and you tend to emulate or maybe push away agriculture. No, agriculture is key. We cannot do without it. So economy-wise, it is playing a very key role, which is so huge and big. And also, like I already started explaining, as we the human beings, what we are consuming, and that is what is making us to be who we are. And of course, that brings to the table a very special moment once in every year to appreciate, to say, wow, farmers, you've done a great job.
I'm going to ask you, you say once in every year, whether that is enough. But just before that, do you think the average Ghanaian actually understands the role of farmers in our everyday life?
That has been a very interesting challenge, I should say. The ordinary Ghanaian out there has not really recognized this. All that they know is that, okay, it's a holiday, we have fun, and the holiday is called Farmers' Day. The ordinary Ghanaian out there has not really quantified and understand that without the farmer out there, there's no life. What it is that we need to also have a very special moment, as you rightly said, whether it is the best to go doing it once a year. Doing it once a year, I would say it's not a bad idea. It's okay because we are looking at some crops, or entirely most of the crops that we tend to grow as farmers. Their life cycle ends up within a year. And when we have so much of it, we are looking at a very special moment where the food that we have seasonally, we have so much of it on the market.
Right.
A farmer is maybe cultivating a crop right now, and that crop will be ready maybe somewhere before Easter season. That crop will be ready maybe at the middle of the year, next year, 2026. That crop might be ready by the end of the year 2026. That crop might be might be ready to harvest maybe, let's say somewhere in February, March, thereabout. It depends. And that farmer who, let's say, is doing a 3-month duration crop will continue to have, let's say, 3 different cultivations before the close of the year. That farmer is bringing something to the market every 3 months. It goes on. And as we tend to consume, we always have it and all that. So it's appropriate that we have it yearly. But also, to respond to the other side of the question also, we need to have a series and a continuous advocacy, is very, very important to help farmers and also to educate the consumers, to educate the public, for them to see how useful, how essential, what is it that we cannot do, and the farmer is out there doing. And the farmer is always making sure there's food on our table all the time. So apart from the 1 year Farmers Day annual celebration, we need to have moments. Most especially now, the social media, they are doing so many things. Most of the media houses are all over the place. we need to see how media houses should be, getting themselves involved in promoting food and agriculture. In other countries, they do so much of it, and it has helped the entire country to really give a very high level of respect to farmers, as compared to interest in Ghana, where people don't give so much regards to farmers. If you're a farmer, you are a poor person. If you're a farmer, you're a school dropout. If you're a farmer, you are this, you are that. The society don't give regards to farmers. But look, as I rightly said, without a farmer, there's no life. The society is rather giving attention and high respect to bankers, medical professionals, legal practitioners, engineers, etc., which is not the way to go. All these professionals, like I made mention, consume and eat food. And where's the food coming from? So when this advocacy, when this promotion, when this education keep on going on through our various media houses, then it draws the attention of the ordinary Ghanaian on the street and go like, "Ooh, I'm hearing this about farmers. I never knew, not knowing that, whoa, without them, I mean, so many things cannot happen." And even national basis, now that agriculture, I won't say now, but for years, ever since Ghana's independence came into existence, agriculture has been the backbone of the economy. And government need to also make sure they are facilitating, promoting, and also making sure that this kind of education is on the media houses all the time.
All the time.
That, look, apart from even the food that we are eating, because everybody says, some people say, "Oh, we are bringing food from other countries in the form of imports." Therefore, if it's not coming from the farmer that I know out there, then it's coming from somewhere. So I wouldn't appreciate my own Ghanaian farmer. When the government is promoting this agenda and making sure that without agriculture, looking at the most precious commodity, which is cocoa, for export, we cannot have our economy thriving. And government needs to also help to understand, for the whole country to understand that with the revenue that the government is making out of cocoa, it is able to do A, B, C, D. That is helping this same ordinary Ghanaian who has not recognized the effort of farmers. Then that huge respect and that high level of regard comes into play.
Right. So, I mean, I get the point you're making, the fact that many people don't regard the farmers. But do the farmers themselves also feel valued? I know you work closely with some of them.
I do. Farming is a passion. That is the highest and the topmost profession ever since the creation of this whole wide world. If you go back into biblical understanding how the world was created. The world was created, when you read your Bible, it tells you a garden was made. And the garden was having a wide range of living things, plants and animals. When the Creator made this whole wide world, or when the world was created, it wasn't created on a desert where there's only, sand everywhere, or it was not created where there are skyscraper buildings, airports, some other infrastructures. No, it was a garden that was created. And human being was also created to take care and be in charge of the garden, called the Garden of Eden. And when we look at it from that view, when you pick up that profession as a farmer, you should see yourself to be the profession that God created for human beings. Because God said that, be in charge of the garden.
Yeah.
So if I'm in charge of a garden and I'm in charge of crops, animals, that is what God has given me. God didn't create lawyers. God didn't create medical professionals. God didn't create engineers. I'm not condemning those professions, though we cannot do without them. We are all important to each other. But what we are talking about, for farmers to be proud of themselves, for farmers to say that this profession or this thing that I'm doing is the topmost, I wouldn't really listen to what the masses are talking about, because I'm always in a tanted clothes. I'm not wearing a suit and tie. I'm not sitting under air conditioning. I only use hoe and cutlass to get on the open environment. The sun is so hot. Sometimes when it is raining, I still need to at least do some work at the farm. And people drive past and see what I'm doing. and they don't give regards to that. Don't pay attention to those people.
Okay.
Like I said, education regarding those people will come on the next discussion. But for you, the farmer, to understand and see that without you, there's no food. Without you, there's no life. Therefore, I am the most important personality, the most important human being on this planet Earth, because I am growing what every human being on this planet Earth have to consume.
Yeah.
And you need to identify and see yourself that without you, there's no life on this planet Earth, as I keep saying. That is what I think our farmers, or we the farmers, we need to understand, we need to know, for us to feel good on ourselves, for us to be highly so proud of ourselves in what we are doing, and not what the masses are looking at for, because you are not wearing suit and tie, and people are going like, what is this man doing, and etc., etc. Even your home, your family, your extended family, are they really giving high regards to what you're doing? All these things come into play. So first of all, it starts from you yourself as a farmer, right from creation, how God created this whole wide world, and giving you that mandate to be in charge of plants and animals.
All right.
Very good.
I see. Let's. Do you think that the Farmers' Day celebration should evolve into to include maybe deeper conversations about farmer welfare? We know we do the awards, best farmer, this and all of that. Do you think we should actually be looking at farmer welfare around this time?
Not around this time. It should have started very long ago. The welfare of farmers, yes. Just like the way we give regards to the welfare of other professionals. When you look at other professionals where there's so much attention on them, there's a lot of benefits. If you are this, you are that, you are entitled to ABC, the very long list. You know, the welfare of farmers is highly important. I think there are some insurance companies who are giving or paying attention to farmers and helping them to subscribe to insurance policies regarding their farming activities, and the farmers themselves, which is not a bad idea. There are also other aspects that it has to go to the farmer regarding its welfare and well-being. And I think government need to take some of this initiative and also create the enabling environment for the private sector to also step into some of these aspects regarding the farmer, their welfare. We know that in the cocoa sector, there is an educational fund for farmers, their children, for them to have subsidized education in the form of a scholarship. These things were given to farmers so many years ago. That is farmers regarding, that has to do with cocoa. But it should trigger down to other farmers as well. You know, the vegetable farmers, the cereal and grain, legume farmers and all that. They also have to have that kind of, welfare. So mentioning the government doing that, it means that the government need to trigger down to how they can also conglomerate all these other farmers, put them together for them to understand that we have this number of maize farmers, rice farmers, sorghum and millet farmers, putting all of them together, cereals and grain farmers, legume farmers, vegetable farmers, tree crops farmers like the cashew, the citrus, avocados and whatever you say, that the government will also see their high level of contribution to the economy, their high level contribution to so many other things regarding food security and all that. Then the government also come up with a fund that can take care of all these farmers. That will also make farmers to feel so good, feel highly respected, so much, very, very, very important, so that they can also, give so much effort into the farming profession that they are in.
Right.
Therefore, some of these things need to come on board. Normally, when the government takes the first step, it entertains and welcomes private sector also to be part of. So when government, come up with some of these initiatives, other individuals who think it is a business 50-50 win avenue for them to also get involved. And of course, we have a lot of it also being part of it.
All right, great. So let's before you came in, there's this gentleman, I mean, my colleague here,
Yeah.
and he was telling us about his parents being farmers. But when it comes to National Farmers Day like this, sometimes, I mean, he says from where he's coming from, which is Wasa Ekiapim, the people are in their farms this morning, trying to still do they don't care, or they don't even know what exactly is going on in terms of the Farmers Day. What is one thing you think we could do to make Farmers Day more meaningful to farmers like that?
Like I made mention, farmers are working on their farms on the field throughout the day, non-stop, from Monday to Sunday. It goes on and on. It doesn't mean that special moment, that special day called the Farmers Day, every Tom, Dick, and Harry of a farmer should leave his work at the farm and come to maybe where this occasion is to be, for them to be part of, or they just have to take a rest and relax at home. It doesn't mean all farmers should do that. If I'm a farmer, or of course I'm a farmer anyway, if there's something I need to do today, which is key, so important, I need to go out there to go get it done on the field. The recognition is what is key. Therefore, when Farmers Day activities are going on and those nice speeches are being given, if you pay attention to all those speeches, it congratulates every farmer. Therefore, if I'm on the farm or I'm on the field doing what I need to do, and of course I'm being congratulated, I feel good about what I'm doing. It gives me a lot of morale. I'm doing much more because I know that the government has recognized this hard work that I'm doing to bring food to the table. Also, regardless wherever location that it might be, it is good that this year Farmers Day is on the Volta region. Normally, it is very important for it to be hosted at various regions.
Right.
And we are talking about various regions. That's where we are talking about areas where a lot of food or a lot of farming activities goes on, to bring it right there at their doorstep, for them to feel good and understand that this thing that we are doing in this community that seemed not to be even located on the map of Ghana has been seen, has been recognized.
Right.
Therefore, we say thank you, and like I rightly said, as you agree with me, giving them the very level of morale to do more with their farming activities and all. So all these locations, everybody knows that, okay, the prime areas in the Ashanti region, centering it at Kumasi, the prime area in Greater Accra, looking at Accra itself, and it goes on and on. That's where everybody recognizes, everybody sees it, everybody have easy access and participation in going to see what happens, and also to congratulate the best farmer in this, the best farmer in that. You have to sit back at your TV sets and also watch, and also have familiarization and believing, understanding that, so there's a location at this place that they are also doing a very fantastic job in growing food. Therefore, the food that I see on the open market, most of our market days that we all go there to buy so much food for our various homes, we know that, okay, some of these foods are coming from this community, that village, this place, and it goes on and on. Then we appreciate and recognize, know that farmers are doing a very fantastic job.
Right. So if we organize just the events, like we're saying, and for instance, somebody from Wasekiapim is in his farm, sometimes they don't even know that there's a Farmers Day celebration going on. And that is where my question is coming from. Not necessarily that they should take time off their farms or anything, but how can they also feel part of the celebration, or they don't have to necessarily be part of the celebration, like you're saying?
They need to be part of the celebration. The fact that these farmers are busy on the field doing what they are doing doesn't mean that they should isolate themselves. I won't say publication, but the advocacy, making it so loud for every farmer to understand and know. And it should start from where we started our conversation, where that continuous discussion, that continuous advocacy, recognizing, appreciating farmers on weekly basis, at least. I mean, every media house should, have a section, a moment. Now, most media houses, no matter the location that you are in Ghana, you could have your channel will be able to capture
To reach,
quite a number of them. It's reach out to everybody. And when farmers, for instance, after they are back home from the field, maybe a little bit in the evening, and they tune in their radio set and they are hearing about, programs regarding farming activities, programs regarding agriculture in Ghana as a whole. It's smoothing their hearts. It's made them feel good. And like I keep saying, the recognition that it gives, that farmers are seen and farmers are being recognized in all what they are doing. Therefore, when it is getting closer for Farmers' Day, then of course they are already highly informed for them to be part of this special moment. And also the high level of morale that it will give to these farmers is for them to also work hard and challenge themselves that I need to do more farm size, more acreages for me to see whether I could get an award, for me to be recognized. All of these things motivate the farmers a lot,
right.
And then for them to be also be recognized and awarded. But if everything is in the quiet, as it has been, but it has been much better in this very year that we've just started, right from January, latter part of, let's say, April, all the way down to this month of December now. The recognition and advocacy for agriculture has been much better, has been good. We've been hearing the agriculture minister most of the time in most of the media houses and most other public gatherings and all that. It's a very good thing that he's doing. And I'll also quickly draw the attention of everybody, all listeners, all viewers also, that apart from the food and agriculture sector, this is the statutory institution that is in charge of our food agriculture, the whole country. But there are other institutions also, government-owned institutions also, that is also playing a role regarding food and agriculture. And there's a new one that is also coming with a very high level of agriculture recognition, strengthening up agriculture, making agriculture make it look, I won't use the word modernized, but more attractive,
appealing,
and making sure that our agri-food systems are well structured. Our foods are become much healthier.
Right.
Our farming activities is become much more sustainable. It is a unit of the 24-hour economy called the Grow 24. The Grow 24 is focusing on food and agriculture, in addition to what the Ministry of Food and Agriculture is already doing. And Grow 24 is going to work and address a very, very, very key important issues in the agriculture sector that the country has not really paid attention to over so many years down the line. And it's a very, very good thing in strengthening and improving upon agriculture in this country. And all of these things will also come into play as we are discussing, promoting agriculture in various means, recognizing farmers, getting farmers to even do much better in their food that they are growing, and also making sure that our food distribution, it is much more well structured, and it is going to control and minimize the influx of food imports that we are seeing that is coming. But interestingly, this very year that we are in, the influx of food imports has reduced because farmers are being recorded. People keep on saying that our farmers are not producing enough. That is why there's import all the time. People are having so many funny perspective or perception regarding our farmers, pointing figures at the farmers that they are the cause and they are the reason why there's influx of imports. But this year, as we are in, of course, this present government is addressing food and agriculture in a very different and a very peculiar way. That is motivating and encouraging farmers to do more. That's why I'm saying that, or that's why I'm looking at it from the point of view where our import of food has reduced. So farmers are highly motivated. Farmers are giving much more input and they are producing so much. So the import has reduced. And it will tell you that getting into next year and the number of years that year to come, if some of these things are going to continue, if some of these things are going to be much more intensified, we realize that by the time we are into the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years, 7, 8 years to come, it is either most imports has entirely been out of the system, and probably maybe some other few essential might be imported. But
I see.
as in the way we are importing, it has come to, it has reduced and it is much better.
Right.
Yeah.
We hope it continues because the concerns are that we have to be producing what we eat and all of that here in this country.
Yes.
Well, I wanted us to. I made us spend quite a number of time, or a longer time on the Farmers Day because today is Farmers Day. But just finally on that one, how can we make this day, or how can we use this day to actually make agriculture appealing to young people?
Very special moments, being a Farmers Day to farmers, appreciating farmers, congratulating farmers, making farming most appealing to people, is showcasing and talking about most of our indigenous foods. And this is why, or there's a reason why I'm saying this. It is because for so many years now, our indigenous foods, most of them has gone extinct. And it is about time for us to, bounce back, to try to bring them back into our agri-food system, for it to be much more seen, much more consumed, Therefore, promoting and giving the opportunity for our consumers to, for instance, understand and see that we still have some of our indigenous crops in our system. Millet, sorghum, fonio, so that they will know that these foods are the right food that we should be eating. Very, very, very healthy. Our ancestors have been consuming this food or these foods ever since creation. And our unfortunate, corrupt agricultural practices has really made some of these healthy food has gone extinct. And bringing it back into existence, like I really said, is very, very, very important. And it should be one of the special moments to mark today as a Farmers Day for all consumers out there and everywhere, to see that there is still an existence of some of these foods that has not entirely vanished. And preparations and so many other activities are being underway, going on for it to be much more abundant on our agri-food systems.
And that will bring young people interested in the agriculture sector.
Absolutely. Okay. Because, I think we'll talk about that also regarding the way our agri-food systems has been messed up for so many years down the line. And like I really said, the arm of government that is new in the system, that is the 24-hour economy, under the Grow 24 initiative. It is going to address most of these issues and make sure that it will bring back some of these very, very, very healthy indigenous foods into our system again. Because most of these very healthy indigenous foods thrive, grow very well under a sustainable agriculture practice called organic agriculture systems. That is how some of this food could be cultivated and could be abundant everywhere. We have not practiced sustainable agriculture activities for so long a time. This government is bringing it back and promoting it. Grow 24 is even championing it much stronger and better in making sure that now our agri-food system should focus on what is called agroecological approach in growing food, and which is healthy, the most healthiest way to grow food. And it will bring back most of these indigenous species or indigenous foods that has been missing in the system for so long a time, for us to see it all over the place and we start consuming them once again. Very, 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 very healthy foods.
All right. Okay, well, 21 minutes after 9, this is the Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Nitrebi Hammond. And this morning we're talking about Farmers Day, Ghana's food future. We're strengthening, with a focus on strengthening farmers, our health, and also our ecosystems. And my guest this morning is Dr. Daniel Bassey Jr. He's an organic agronomist and also soil management expert, and he's helping us understand a few things this morning. You can join a conversation on our WhatsApp by sending us a text on 0544321019, 0544321019. You can send your questions, comments to that number, and also you can engage us on our social media platforms. We're on Facebook at ZFMGH and on YouTube at Z Multimedia. Please drop a comment and we'll read them for you. Okay, Doc, let's move on and talk about food security. In simple terms, how food secure is Ghana?
Currently, Ghana, we are doing much better when it comes in terms of food security. But I would like to help all viewers and listeners to understand and know what is called food security in the very first place. Food security, most of the time, people think that when you have so much food, and when you go to our local market and there is a lot of food that is going bad, and food from our hinterlands comes into the highly populated places, our local market, in trucks, and we are seeing so much of it. Bags of maize, the plantains, the root and tubers, etc., etc. We have so much of it. And, that does not tells you that there is food that you are seeing with your naked eyes. Therefore, we are secure with food. And I will explain what is really true and true meant by food security. Number one, when a country is making sure that its natural resources are protected, its natural resources are highly, highly stable and not destructed. When I'm talking about natural resources, I'm talking about fresh water bodies, I'm talking about our forests, I'm talking about our soils. And so many natural entities that constitute and bring together what is called ecosystem services, promoting biodiversity. When we have all these things in place, then we move to crop farming. Crop farming, I'm talking about not just growing crops, but using sustainable approach, sustainable practices, organic agriculture, agroecological approach in growing food. Because when you use agroecological approaches and also organic agriculture activities in growing food, you are not going to destroy our forest. You are not going to disturb underground water. You are not going to cause any harm to the soil. You are rather promoting soil health. All these entities, just to mention a few, should support the production of food continuously, non-stop. When we are having weather conditions which is not too good, now there's climate instability globally. When your natural resources are not really stable, or when your natural resources are highly disturbed, for instance, regarding illegal mining activities, that is really messing up our natural resources. When our forests, our trees, that is stabilizing, promoting, and making sure that our ecosystem is entirely stable. Because if you look at the forest, for instance, and if you look at the trees, the contribution or the what they do in the environment are so much. Our fauna and flora are being made to be in place. It is not highly disturbed. Very, very, very important species like insects. Very, very important species like birds. And when I'm talking about insects, I'm talking about birds. These are very, very, very important living entities that will make our crops that we grow to grow and grow well through what is called pollination. And most of the crops that we are consuming, being it grains and cereal, vegetables and what have you, most of the fruits, vegetables to be specific, when they are not pollinated, how are they going to grow into fruits? I don't want to dive so much into science regarding how the whole process goes about, not to bore viewers and listeners, but these things should be in place so that we can continuously have food growing all the time. So that we will not find ourselves in a fix where we cannot continue to grow food, or where our food that we are producing or we are growing is not giving us the good and the best of yield to suffice consumers in terms of their food consumption rate. That will trigger us to go to the neighboring countries or far more countries to bring food in form of an import. Therefore, we need to make sure our natural ecosystem is stable. our natural resources are not disturbed, and they are very, very, very key, and they are very, very stable. That will enable these useful living organisms to help our plants to grow. We need to grow food to marry and to match with nature. All these key, activities need to be in place for us to tell ourselves that we are secure with food. Also, when we have what is called sovereignty, food sovereignty, there is no way we can talk about food security without talking about food sovereignty.
Right.
Food sovereignty is basically about you having entirely control, and you own it to yourself, your agri-food systems. And I'm giving an example of maybe, let's say, a seed. The seed that we are using to grow food. Maize seeds, cowpea seeds, vegetable seeds like the chili pepper, the tomatoes, garden eggs, whatever, etc., etc. If you have the seeds yourself, where you don't have to wait for the seeds to be given to you from somebody, and our agri shops also are having the seeds themselves, the seeds that is produced right here in Ghana, and not the seed which is being imported, or not the seeds coming from anywhere. We own it to ourselves. We go out there to have our seeds and grow our crops anytime the farmer wants to grow food. We own our food. Nobody owns it. Therefore, we are not bringing in anything that is going to help us to grow our food. And most of the things that we are seeing that is coming into the country that we are using to grow our food are even so, they are synthetic. It is not helping our food systems. It is destroying our ecosystem, destroying the environment, and so on and so forth. When all those things are no more, and we own it to ourselves, we are making sure that correct agriculture practices, sustainably, plants, healthy soil health activities, and making sure that we are growing healthy food, because our consumers need to consume healthy food. And food security also addresses and talks about healthy food, not food which is poisoned. No, your food should be healthy, because your life has to do with healthy life regarding healthy food. When we are talking about healthy food, we are talking about healthy soil, healthy plants, healthy living human beings. That's how it works. So how do I keep my soil healthy for my plants to be healthy, so that I can produce healthy food for human beings?
Right.
All these things are in the whole chain, and it is compounded into where we are addressing and talking about what's called food security.
But I want to know, you've talked about the things that must be in place for us to say we are food secure. Do you see those things in Ghana? Are we food secure?
We are not for now, but it is promising. And I repeat, currently, some of these issues that I've outlined is underway in handling and solving those issues. So it is promising, and the indications are so clear. Like I really made mention in the past few minutes, the arm of government under the 24-hour economy, under the Grow 24, is addressing so many of these issues, and it's coming to life. And farmers are now going to be empowered for them to grow healthy food. Farmers are going into agriculture practices and activities that will not destroy the environment, that will keep our ecosystem in place. That is not going to destroy our forest. They are going to put together smallholder farmers for them to go into what is popularly known as agroecological farming practices, to make sure that they are not destroying the environment. They are using sustainable organic input to produce food, for them to bring food on the market which are healthy, not food which are being used, synthetic input are being used to produce all those foods, and it's not giving us good health. It is destroying our environment, also promoting and contributing to climate instability and all that. Grow 24 is addressing and going to make sure that all these things are able to be worked on, and we are going to have much more sustainable farming activities, and healthy food will be on our tables.
Right.
And that's why I'm saying that it is promising. It is a bit new, but it is going to work out. It's going to be super. It's going to be awesome.
Okay, so why do you think that Ghana is still importing foods that we can grow here? Because you talk about food sovereignty.
I would say it has some level of political influence. And that political influence, what it means is that, when we need to invest in our own farmers, put the right policies in place, put the right strategies in place for us to grow enough food for everyone. If we are refusing to do that and we are thinking that bringing in food or importing food will give much more quick revenue to some business people, then we tend to, consider that. So that seems to be much more, kind of political arm that goes into that. But we need to quickly invest and rather focus on our farmers, trust so much in them, put the right policies in place for them to grow our own food, for us to cut down import.
But how does climate change affect our ability to be food secure?
Climate instability is a very big thing. Globally, they just ended Conference of Party 30 or COP30 that was held in Brazil. Address some of these issues. The previous Conference of Party that was held last year, towards the end of last year, that was held in Azerbaijan, that was held in Saudi Arabia, and the very latest one was held in Brazil. All these Conference of Parties, have addressed a lot of climate instability issues in relation to our food securities and so on and so forth. And it's all about some of these things that I talked about, how our natural systems to be in place to promote and help healthy food cultivation. And that is what is happening. When there's climate instability, it's going to affect our rainfall pattern. It is affecting wide range of useful organisms and living entities like the insects that are there to pollinate our crops. When farmers and other international entities are not really supporting and promoting healthy and sustainable farming activities and rather introducing so many non-sustainable practices, regarding the GMOs and stuff like that, it will contribute and it will lead into climate issues that will not help and support agricultural farming activities. Therefore, these are some of the things that goes a long way in affecting our agricultural activities in relation or emanating from climate instability.
Right. There's so much to cover this morning here, but let's move on to the agricultural food systems here in Ghana. You talked about that a while ago. From a professional lens, what are some of the biggest agricultural strengths and weaknesses that we should be concerned about?
Number one, our strength that we need to be concerned about is having a sustainable planting materials. And what I mean is that seeds, we need to own our own seeds.
We don't have them?
We don't have them. We are yet to.
Then that's not a strength. That's probably a weakness, isn't it?
I'm talking about weakness,
okay.
as you rightly asked. When we are able to own our own planting materials, for instance, with seeds, then we have all the reasons to grow our own food. We don't need to be buying or importing seeds from anywhere. That is one of our weaknesses. Number two, when we are able to make sure that our natural ecosystem are very, 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 very stable and we stop destroying our natural environment. Illegal mining activities has been a very big problem at the back, breaking the back of the country. How is it going to be addressed for it to come to a stop entirely, so that all what it is leading into in poisoning our food and also poisoning our freshwater bodies, and there's a freshwater body that we're using to irrigate crops, and it is having so many effects on our agri-food systems. How some of these things could come to a halt, for us to reclaim all those lands, for us to rebuild all those forests that we've lost, for us to have a sustainable agri-food system. And then the third one, as one of our weakness also, it is how we need to structure and make sure that our food distribution system is well organized. We tend to have so much food centered at certain parts of the country.
Can you give an example?
Yams, for instance, and also most of the perishable crops. You tend to find them so much at certain communities or certain places, entirely out of the highly populated areas. How can we bring them and get it well distributed all over the country? When we are not seeing it enough of so much of our food at the highly populated areas, so many consumers are convinced that farmers are not producing enough. Therefore, there should be the need for us to be importing. No, that's not the issue. But the food distribution system should be well structured.
What do you think is affecting the food distribution system?
What is affecting the food distribution system is, number one, value addition. When we are able to put right structures in place to promote value addition, so that most of these foods will not just go bad so quickly, so that we can have some of this food still being in our system for consumption in different forms, which is more sustainable. We don't have to just leave them in their raw state just for it to be sitting at the market and then it finally goes bad, because consumers, for instance, if you're looking at yams, as I already said, if we are adding value to our yams for it to be processed into flour. Flour is a commodity, or flour is a product that could be used for so many things. And of course, the gluten-free kind of flour, that's the kind of flour that we get from root and tubers, could be used just as the way we use the wheat flour for the pastries, for entirely everything that we happen to use those flour with. And when we are able to do some of these things, it helps to get our agri-food system well structured. That is one. Also, value addition regarding our cereals, grains, and legumes. There's this fantastic and an awesome company we have in Ghana called Agromix. Agromix is into value addition of most of our indigenous crops, and it's doing a fantastic job. It's able to bring together most of our indigenous crops, mix it up in a form of food, and it is well fantastically packaged, making it available, making it much easier for the consumption, the recognition, the high level of regards given to some of these foods that is well distributed all over the country. When we are able to process and we are able to add value to some of this food, it can easily be distributed, move from one place to the other, everywhere in the country, and it goes beyond. So value addition of most of our indigenous crops in a form of produce or in a form of being in a state as which it can be consumed easily by consumers is also one of the factors that is affecting our agri-food systems. The strength for now that I can say is that we are seeing most of the strength for the past couple of years since this new government came that has really empowered and really add more, strength and a lot of morale to farmers in producing so much food. We are looking at input distribution, supporting farmers with inputs like very healthy organic fertilizers given to farmers for them to grow healthy foods, and also the various structures that have been put in place where agro-farm service centers, that will be well positioned at some places where when you have issues regarding input that you want to have, mechanized, equipment that you need to have in producing your food and growing your food and so on and so forth. It is just as close to you as you, the farmer, looking at the various classes of farms in all over the country.
Right.
Some of these service centers are being constructed and built in all this, and it is underway, so that it makes easy when a farmer needs something. The farmer don't need to travel all the way from the north all the way to Accra to just get a part of a tractor that has broken down and going all the way back to the northern region with a part, get it fixed. If you don't have a mechanic, you have to come all the way to Kumasi to get a mechanic to go fix, and so on and so forth. All these, the farming service centers are going to have all these professionals also over there to see to farmers when they have issues with their irrigation systems, with their farm implement, etc., and also some of the input that the farmers are required in using.
Right. There's still so much to cover. Just that our time is almost, it's running very fast, and so we'll be going very soon. But you talked about food distribution a while ago, and you didn't quite mention transportation. Doesn't it play a role in there?
It is one of the role, transportation, making sure our road networks are well structured in place. It is one of the reasons why we are having our food system not well distributed. And also having the right logistical means in transporting them. For instance, if you are transporting fresh vegetables from a place somewhere in the Bono region, or maybe somewhere in the Ashanti region, and then you are bringing it all the way down to the Greater Accra region, and you are not transporting it with the right means of a bus or a van, which is not refrigerated, for instance, and looking at the high temperatures, driving all the way, all those number of hours on the street, coming all the way down to Accra. When we have the right, means of transport in moving most of our perishable crops to the highly populated areas where consumption of food is very, very high. That is one. And I've talked about road networks also. I have not really emphasized so much on these two things because from where we sit and the way we are observing closely how agriculture it is growing and developing under this very government, it has been addressed, and not only been addressed, but measures have been taken in place. Steps have been taken. The Ministry of Roads and Transport is working closely with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. It's working close with the 24-hour economy. If you are able to chance on the 24-hour economy policy, all these things have been addressed very well. And it is going to really get things into play. And like I said, it is not only documented, it has not only been mentioned. Things are currently underway.
Okay.
For some of these things, to be done regarding road networks, the right appropriate means of transporting, and also some other, quick processing, factories in some other sensitive areas where some of these so much foods are being produced, so that those factories will have easy, closer access to some of these raw materials in processing foods, so that transporting the processed food from those areas to Accra, from those areas to Kumasi, from those areas to any other highly populated areas where food consumption is high will be much, much more easier. Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's connect food to health. Good. How big is the link between what we eat and how we feel?
Healthy soil, healthy plants, healthy human beings. I made mention of these three things. When we are talking about healthy food, where does it come from? What do you understand? What does it mean to everybody when you are talking about healthy food? Healthy food simply means that very food that you are consuming, whether it's a raw food like a fruit, whether it's a semi-cooked food like a vegetable, or whether it's a food that needs to go through an entire cooking process like a cereal, grain, it comes from how that food is cultivated or how that food is produced. Therefore, we are talking about organic agriculture. When that food is not produced or grown organically, it means that whatever you are ending up consuming would not give you the appropriate nutritional needs that is required by the human system. I will dive a little bit more to understand, or for everybody to know, when we are talking about organic agriculture, what it means and what it is. Organic agriculture simply means that a food system where very important 4 activities have to be closely observed and it should not be omitted. Number 1, ecology. Number 2, we are talking about health. Number 3, we're talking about fairness. And the 4th one, we're talking about care. When you factor in these 4 protocols, that should be existing, or that should lead you in growing your food, then it is identified and recognized as you are practicing organic agriculture and you are growing organic foods.
Right.
And organic foods, of course, that is what the body needs. The body cannot do without. The body is not meant to be digesting and having so much food that is synthetically produced, or that input that was used to grow that food were synthetics. When I say synthetics, it means that they are not real natural inputs.
Yeah.
And that is how organic food gets in closer relationship with human health. And that's what we need to consume, or that's what it is the way to go. And some of these things is going to be addressed, or it's currently underway in trying to help Ghanaians to consume as much more organic foods as possible. And the Grow 24 under the 24-hour economy is promoting that. agroecological approach is also another approach of a sustainable farming activity, sustainable system that is really also going to help farmers to grow healthy food and produce organic foods, because that is what we need, and that's even what will secure our food security.
So essentially, are we beginning to see more a move towards organic foods, and how can we do that? How can we get people to be more interested? You talk about Grow24 doing something, but how can we as individuals actually promote some of these things?
We as individuals, what we need to do, and I think some of these things is also currently underway. Now, Ghanaians are much more highly informed regarding organic food, healthy food, the way to go. And it is very, very, very good. And as individual, promoting and understanding is, we have to get our farmers to grow organic food for us. And how do we do this? When we are getting our produce, wherever we source our produce, wherever we are getting it from, either the grocery shop, either the local market, open market, and so on and so forth, do we even pay attention, or do we even care in figuring out or asking that grocery shop owner, that supermarket, that open local market, that this market woman selling some of these foods and so on and so forth, do we express our interests of we getting organic foods? That's what we need to start from. We as individuals, when we don't tend to do some of these things in our own way, because now that we understand and now that we know that organic food is the way to go, and organic food gives me the best of health, wherever we are sourcing, wherever we are buying our foods, we need to express the interest, push it to this market woman, push it to that grocery shop operator, etc., etc. Where we are getting our foods, let's keep on pushing and asking and demanding for organic food. Wherever they are also sourcing it from, whether they are sourcing from the farmer or wherever they are sourcing it from, they will also carry the message onwards,
right,
to let them know that my customers that come to my shop, my customers that come to the market lately are pushing and demanding for organic food.
Right.
So, Mr. Farmer, organic food should be the way to go. Could you please start producing organic food so that my customers will have what they want when they come over to my shop, to their market, to buy food? That is how we individuals we need to start it from. Although we might not get it as accurate as it is, but it should start from somewhere.
Right.
When we are pushing for it, when we are demanding for it, that is where it goes all the way down to the farmer. For the farmer to now see the need that organic food is the way to go. Farmers will also complain and say that, organic food production is back-breaking, it's too difficult, it is so hard. You don't need to be using certain inputs that makes it easy for farming, but rather you need to use most of a lot of manual activities, and it goes on and on. But when the farmer understands and know that even that hard work that he goes through, the produce that he's producing as organic food, that of course it goes into standardization. It has to be get certified and so on and so forth. I don't want to dive too much into that. Okay. But when the farmer understands that when I go through that hell of trouble, quote unquote, in producing all this healthy food, it has bias. That's what consumers are looking for. So the farmer will find a reason to go into that. Okay. But when we our own self, we are highly interested in foods that we don't even care, we don't even question where it's coming from. So far it is cheap, for instance, we'll buy so much of it and we think that, it is, I can economize it with just few cities that I'm having. If I go to the market with 100 cities, I can buy so much and it can take me a good number of days, and you think that is the end of it. You are not even helping the farmer.
Right. And you're not helping yourself.
You're not also helping yourself also.
Okay, great. So let's touch on, we've scratched the surface of a lot of things. I think that we need to have a good time to actually take them one after the other and speak. We can spend the whole day on ecosystem and biodiversity.
Absolutely.
And all of the other things. Now, one of the major challenges we're beginning to experience, and I know you mentioned it earlier, is the issue about galamsey.
Yeah.
I want you to talk, speak to this briefly. How does protecting our forests, soils, water bodies, and biodiversity support long-term food production in Ghana? We can wrap up with that. All right, go on.
Right here in Ghana, we have a statutory entities that are mandated to protect our fauna and flora. And this organization or this institution is the Forestry Commission and also the Wildlife Division. That is one. This the entity that the government has mandated to make sure that our natural resources, our forests, are not destroyed. It is also their mandate to protect and safeguard what is called sacred groves all over the country. When we have well-equipped and the right professionals in these institutions in working on these few things I've made mention, protecting our forests, making sure our freshwater bodies are protected, making sure our sacred groves, when I say sacred groves are small forests protected by the indigenes of a community. That signifies the heritage of that community. That also promotes ecological entities and protects so many things and serve the village as their means and their identity, in growing their food and so on and so forth. These institutions are mandated to protect it. When our forests are stable, when our freshwater bodies are not contaminated and they are not destroyed, then we have what is called a biodiversity, because the relationship is driven between freshwater bodies or in other words, we also term as wetlands and also our forests. They work together. When we have wetlands, and most of the time, some people will quickly say the Amazon forest, the way it looks, it goes a long way, in doing so many things for the environment.
Right.
And contributing and seeing it in relation to our agricultural activities and practices. We need to allow these entities also to work closely with farmers, to work closely with the agriculture ministry, to also bring out various agricultural activities and practices that will not harm and destroy what they are protecting.
All right.
So there is the coordination between these two entities. Forestry Commission, Ministry of Food and Agriculture, and also one more important entity, the Environmental and Protection Authority. EPA. For them to play this role, and of course the Ministry of Environment and Science also does the same. That coordination, that togetherness, that will help inform the various activities, the various systems, because all of them are protecting the environment in one way or the other. Therefore, why is it that some people should be allowed to step into those forests and start removing those trees and dig deep into the soil looking for gold? Under whose authority? And why is it that we have these institutions sitting down watching to see people get off our vegetation out of the surface of the soil, dig so deep into the soil, destroy our freshwater bodies, desert some of the freshwater bodies also looking for gold? Why should it be so? That is why we are asking, or that's why we are holding these institutions responsible, for them to have the task force out there. Of course, I think Forestry Commission have their own task force in the forest, trying to protect and make sure that the chainsaw operators are not cutting down trees anyhow, and so on and so forth. They need to be trained properly. They need to be well equipped. And make sure that, some of the security forces should also get involved, like a military, making sure that some of these things will never happen, because we cannot live on this planet Earth without some of these entities. Freshwater bodies, forests, the biodiversity entirely contributing and making sure the ecosystem is complete. We can't do without them.
Right, we've been given some more time. So
Please go ahead.
Yes, we can talk about, we may have to go back and talk about some of the things that we just hinted on. But just hold on for me. Well, exactly 56 minutes after 9, this is a business breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Nitrebi Hammond. This morning on our roundtable discussion, we are talking about Ghana's food future, with a focus on strengthening our farmers, our health, and our ecosystem. We've had a great conversation so far about farmers, and so we've moved on to health and our ecosystems. But we're going to come back and touch on some of the few other things that we only maybe hinted on. But you can join the conversation on our social media platforms. We're on Facebook at ZFMGH. Please drop a comment, then we'll read that for you. And also on YouTube, you can do same. We are at Z Multimedia on YouTube. And you can send us a WhatsApp on 0544321019, 0544321019. And you can call us on 030395661, 030395661. And we give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with us this morning. All right, Doc, let's come back. These are things that we've touched on already, but we want to throw some more light up on each of them. When you were talking about food security, you made mention of very important things. I mean, like climate change and all of that. I want to know, what do you think that we can do? What role can local communities play in improving our food security as a country?
Every local community, as I made mention of a very important aspect that is also should be the role of the Forestry Commission, is to protect sacred groves. And like I said, sacred groves are community forests that has been protected way back from our ancestors. And it is also the duty and the responsibility of our traditional rulers or our traditional leaders to safeguard and protect some of these sacred groups. It is a way where the community, spearheaded by our traditional rulers, to also educate the entire community that this sacred grove is playing this vital role. Therefore, it should never and ever be disturbed or be destroyed.
All right.
We still need food. We still need to grow food for our own self as a community. Therefore, the agriculture activities, the agricultural practices that we need to, get ourselves into to make sure that this very natural existing ecosystem should never be disturbed, should never be destroyed. We need to go into what is called sustainable food activities, sustainable farming activities, organic agriculture. We need to make sure that we practice this so that we will not and never destroy or cause any harm to our sacred groves. And when education is given to the community on the role that the sacred groves are playing, then of course it sinks down very down deep into the skull of these farmers so that they wouldn't practice any kind of farming activities to destroy or cause any harm to the sacred groves. That is how local people,
communities can actually,
our communities can achieve healthy and sustainable food security.
All right. Okay, Doc, you hold on for us. We'll take a quick commercial break, and then when we return, we touch on some other things.
Very well. Very well. Thank you.
Farmers Day weekend, the Gastro Feastival is the place to be. Experience a massive outdoor food festival with a street food alley, Ghanaian food village, global flavors, sweet tooth lane, cooking demos, contests, a pre-Xmas shopping bazaar, the drinks arena, and the electrifying eats and beats stage with live music and DJ.
Cool.
Plus, step inside the knowledge hub for food dialogues, master classes, innovative pitches, and a full agri-business expo connecting the entire food industry. Happening on the 6th and 7th of December at the Palms Convention Center, La Palm Royal Beach Hotel from 10 a.m. daily. Proudly brought to you by Enterprise Light, Tasty Tom, Belacqua, Blue Skies, Express Gas, Cosmos Innovation Center in collaboration with the Presidential Initiative on Agriculture and Agribusiness, powered by Charterhouse. Gastro Feastival.
Ho, ho, ho. Good Park, together with the Father Campbell Foundation and the Miracle Child Foundation, is helping bring joy to the less privileged children by making their Christmas wishes come true. Children from several foundations will have written heartfelt letters to the Good Santa on December 10th at Good Park. Come, read a letter, and make your wish come true. Give a child a reason to smile this season. Follow Good Park on all socials. Become a good Santa. Every child deserves joy. Ho, ho, ho.
All right, welcome back to the Business Breakfast on Z101.9 FM with me, Nee Trevi Hammond. And we get back into our conversation this morning. We're talking about Ghana's food future, and with a focus on strengthening our farmers, our health, and our ecosystem. My guest is Dr. Daniel Bassey Jr. He is an organic agronomist and also soil management expert. And he's helping us have this conversation this morning. He's been talking about quite a number of things. We've talked about the significance of Farmers Day. We've also tried to touch on food security briefly, and that was where we came back to that, and then we went on a quick break. Doc, let's continue the conversation, and we'll still stick to food security for a few minutes. I want to know how much of our food security challenge is about production, and how much of it is about our planning.
Currently, the production is encouraging. Looking at our conversation right from the beginning, for the past good number of months, that is looking at the latter part of April all the way down to December. And like I said, it is also promising that there's going to be more food that we are going to see in the system. And this food is coming from our local farmers, which is very, very important. There is no food coming from somewhere else. That is key.
Yeah.
Now, with a plan, it is said that the government is doing so much into this. The government has also opened up to the private sector to also put their shoulders behind the wheel and making sure that most of the things that the government is planning that has to do with the agriculture sector, is doing so well. Saying much more regarding the government's activity and influence because of this special day. This special day being a Farmers Day, it is a day set aside for farmers by the government. Therefore, the government is prepared and willing to do more for these farmers. Not only presenting to them those awards for everybody to see, but quote unquote behind the scene, the government is also doing so much, in making sure farm inputs are very well distributed to farmers. That is very, very key. I made mention of some of the plans or the farmer service centers that the government is currently underway working on. Government also giving the most better and the best of room for companies that is into value addition of most of our produce and most especially the indigenous crops, helping consumers to understand and know that we still have some of these indigenous crops and how some of these crops could be consumed in so many diverse ways. These are the plans and some of the things that is currently underway, and the government is doing so much into doing this and making sure that it come into play and become something, very, very, very real.
Right. Okay. So maybe what is one bold step that you think that we can actually take to become more self-reliant?
The bold step that we need to take is to trust and believe in our own farmers, that they can produce more and they can produce healthy foods. That is a bold step that we individuals, we consumers out there, we need to take.
Right.
If we are still seeing our farmers and we are not giving the best of regards to them, just like the way we give regards to other professionals or other professions, then in our own way, psychologically, we are not helping ourselves if even the farmers are doing their best. The farmers need the consumers to also come on board. The farmers need the consumers to say all the beautiful and the nice things to them. The farmer needs the consumer to say that, Mr. Farmer, I cannot live without you. You are the one feeding me.
Yeah.
I trust so much in what you are producing. I like what you are doing. Without you, the country's economy will go down the drain so quickly. We appreciate so much. And like I said, that bold step should also come from the government, from the government arm, because the economic growth and development in relation to agriculture is spearheaded, controlled, and championed by the government. In the world of food exports, we're looking at cocoa most especially.
Yeah.
Therefore, when the government is also advocating and promoting, and getting farmers highly motivated in doing what they are doing in other agricultural production, not only in cocoa, it also a means at which we see some of these things happen. When the individual out there is seeing the greater involvement of government in the world of food and agriculture, it makes everybody happy.
True.
It makes everybody understand that. So the way the government is giving so much attention to the agriculture sector, it means that it is a way to go. It will motivate even the young folks to also dive into some of these agriculture professions and all that. And that's a way that agriculture can also get the young ones in terms of entrepreneurship and a wide range of other opportunities that the agriculture is serving. The percentage that it is employing, about 67%, it will become real for everybody to know that the percentage at which agriculture is employing countrywide, I mean the entire country, will even go much more higher because of much more involvement, much more advocacy, much more promotion, so many nice things coming from the government that is getting individuals out there to also get themselves highly motivated and trust and believe in the ordinary Ghanaian farmer.
Okay. So do you believe that we can ever be fully, we can ever fully feed ourselves as a country? I mean, I know you've talked about the fact that, we're doing something, we're building, doing some work in Grow 24 and all of that. But do you think we can ever fully feed ourselves and not depend on any importation?
There come a time that Ghana will be in a position to feed ourselves sufficiently. And I repeat, there come a time that Ghana would be able to feed itself sufficiently without bringing in any food from anywhere, including poultry. The reason being that the measures that has been put into play currently is giving all these promises. And I'm not just saying for whatever reason, I always use the government as a stronger arm because of the economy.
Right.
And this current government is pushing so hard and so strong in those areas. And when you sit back and you are able to read between the lines clearly, it gives you the promise. It gives you the kind of smile that has to be on your face that I'm seeing that for the next couple of years to come, Ghana will be self-sufficient in food. And not just food, but healthy food, of course. And either we reduce a lot of imports. When I say a lot of import, it means that produce, foods, animal products that we can produce right here, our own self, right here in Ghana, we would not bring it anywhere from any country anymore. If we need to import, it could be maybe some other equipment that will help us to be able to, make farming work much better, much easier, sustainably, of course. And that might be the thing. It could be some other few ingredients that might be needed to add up to maybe what we're already producing, adding value to it for us to have our own, produce being produced in Ghana. I don't know whether you've heard, and I will also say this so loud and boldly to every viewer, every listener, that Her Excellency the Vice President, Professor Jane Opoku-Agyeman, has pronounced that Ghana will soon process its own cocoa beans right here in Ghana. And as we speak, it is currently underway. The structure is currently underway, being put into place for Ghana to start, processing its own cocoa beans.
But this is a conversation that has been going on for years now.
Yes.
How different is this current one?
And I'm saying that as we speak now, the structure to start or to kickstart the manufacturing and processing of our cocoa beans is currently ongoing in the Volta region.
Okay.
Yes. So it wouldn't be, as Riley said, that it's being pronounced, it's being said all the time. Politicians say it so nicely before the public, before the media, and at the end of the day, you don't see nothing happening. The plan and the approach of His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama himself is looking at the agriculture to be the biggest avenue to spearhead the growth and development of the country. If you chance on the 24-hour economic policy, the areas where it's addressing manufacturing. It is addressing so many other areas that is going to source and have its raw material from our local farmers in terms of manufacturing. There's even an attention, plans, and focus on our local garment industry, where we are going to produce our own clothes. So we are looking at cotton production, which is a very, very huge industry. True. To also make sure that the clothes that we are wearing, the beautiful cloths that we use to sew the clothes that we wear and so on and so forth, will be produced right here in Ghana, and it will be manufactured from the cotton that our cotton farmers will start producing. And all these things are things that have been put into play. And I keep saying, I am not a politician. I wouldn't like to sound like a politician, but from the expertise and then the field that some of us will belong, we've already seen it on the ground.
Okay.
That is happening.
Right.
And it is happening at the right moment. It is happening at the right time. It is not happening at the final year ending of this present government. It is not happening at a couple of months towards the end of this present government. It has happened, and it is ongoing right from the beginning of this present government. And that is what is giving the assurance. So you can make a projection that if it has already been started this year, 2025, then definitely by 2026 into 2027, some of these things will start operating.
Right.
And that gives the assurance. That gives the way forward. That is why it is important, for us to see some of these things. Let's not sit back and be thinking and be wondering what is happening, what is ongoing. Investors are highly interested in pushing their shoulders behind the wheel in some of these agenda policies and so on and so forth that this present government is trying to do in the world of food and agriculture. And it's going to be wow. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome, as I keep saying.
All right, great. So I intentionally took us back to food security so that we can touch on some of the things there. Now let's come back to the ecosystem and biodiversity. We started talking about it, and you spoke about the fact that we need to protect our forests, we need to protect our soil, our water bodies, and all of that. I want us to break it down a bit. Do you think are farmers aware of the long-term effects of farming practices on the environment?
Every farmer, regardless wherever this farmer is located, even with the peri-urban farmers. When I say peri-urban farmers, I'm talking about farmers or farming activities that is happening within, in and around the urban locations or the urban areas. Urban locations, urban areas is not only Accra. Some places in Sunyani, some places in Kumasi in the Ashanti region, some places in the northern part of Ghana, Tamale, and so on and so forth. Urban, what makes a location to be an urban? That is locations where population is a bit higher, certain infrastructures and certain livelihood activities keeps on going on. That makes things much bit simpler and easier. Government arms and administrations are being found in those areas and so on and so forth. We tend to identify and see those places as an urban areas. Farmers who are even growing food in such areas are making sure that they are mainstreaming ecological approaches. And when I say ecological approaches, they are making sure that there are some plants at wherever they are growing their food.
Right.
There are some trees that is contributing to reduce evapotranspiration, loss of water through freshwater bodies and plants.
Right.
There are some structures or there are some plants existing that is controlling and reducing what is called runoffs and erosion. Some plants that in existence that is stabilizing the soil structure. Farmers have this indigenous knowledge naturally that they inherited from our ancestors all over down to this generation. Every farmer knows that. So wherever the farmer is growing his food, he's making sure some of these things are in existence. Right. And even with the peri-urban farmers that I'm even using as an example, is that if you go to some locations over here in Accra, for instance, if you go to Jowlu, you see some peri-urban farming activities going on in and around Jowlu. When you try to go there, just look around, okay? You see, a hop of plantain that have been cultivated at a particular place. And that plantain has been there for years upon years. It keeps on growing. These peri-urban farmers are always looking for space, much more space to grow food.
Yeah.
But they will never and ever remove all those plantains all over there. And these plantains, this is uncountable, a lot of it. You could see some trees that these peri-urban farmers have not touched it. They even use it as a shade that they sit under when they are tired and resting. They leave those trees to be there. You could see that these peri-urban farmers are able to do some dugouts to collect some underground water that they use for irrigation purposes. This dugouts being used for irrigation purposes, it is the existence of some of these ecological entities that is contributing and promoting for them to have water in those dugouts to irrigate their crops.
Yeah.
Basically, peri-urban farmers have this knowledge in making sure that ecosystem services and biodiversified environment is in existence in where they are growing their food. Let's move away from the peri-urban areas and let's go to other places in the eastern, south, eastern, western, what have you, the hinterlands. When they are preparing their lands, they know which trees not to fell, they know which trees to fell.
Right.
We are always training and running capacity building for farmers for them to understand and know properly how well they need to, go about ecological approaches in farming systems. And we are always making sure that they are not using weedicide. Weedicides in killing their weeds, weedicide in removing vegetation. This is having a very intense complications on the soil, underground water. It goes all the way in affecting climate, and so on and so forth. We are helping farmers to come up with some other approaches to rather do what is called the land preparations, when you start from a clearing of weeds or clearing of the land, creating landforms and so on and so forth, so that they will not have too much negative impact on the environment, but rather promote and have some ecological existence
Right.
in their farming activities, in their farming areas, to promote and maintain ecological and ecosystem services, so far as biodiversity is concerned.
Right. Okay. I'm watching our time. So maybe finally, just before we wrap up, what are some simple practices that some farmers can adopt to actually protect the health of the soil?
Agroforestry is key. And,
What is that?
agroforestry is a farming system where you are incorporating trees and other crops. Trees and other crops, when you look at the role and the functions that trees play, and the role and the functions that other crops that we are highly interested in growing, let's say the maize, some of the vegetables, and so on and so forth. Tree will stabilize the soil structure using its rooting system. Trees grow and form up a canopy, making sure that when the intense rainfall is up, it reduces the intensity of the raindrops coming all the way to the surface of the soil.
Right.
When the sunshine is so high, when there is high temperatures, it reduces and controls evaporation of soil moisture from the surface of the soil. When the tree canopy forms up, it reduces the intensity of sun, in this case, high temperatures, on having its negative impact on the soil surface.
Right.
Just to mention a few, I don't want to sound too technical as far as my food is concerned.
Sure.
Viewers or listeners might not be able to understand some of these scientific and technical approaches. But just to have this very, very basic, practical understanding why farmers need to go into agroforestry activity as an ecological approach, as a form of organic approach in growing food. It is the way to go, and it will also help them a lot. Agroecological approaches is also one of the approach where farmers could do. Agroecological approaches has to do with, food that you are producing, making sure that you are allowing ecological activities to also exist. You are not destroying ecological or existing ecological approaches, including the social life of the farmer, and also so many other important things that the farmer need to consider. Agroecology will protect and safeguard healthy food, making sure that whatever you are producing, the food that you are growing, it is always safe. It is not contaminated by any other synthetic input, because all the various protocols that you are considering in practicing agroecological approaches, it doesn't inform you to be using synthetic input. Because when you use synthetic input, it will destroy and it will corrupt up your agroecological approach in growing food.
Right.
And it is also another avenue. It's also another way in growing food. Agroecological approaches also does not defines or tells you, the farmer, to grow one single crop. That it's popularly known as a monocropping. You need to grow different kinds of crops in relationship to the way their rooting system function, so that it does not compete with other plants. The landforms that you need to creating ridges and making sure that when I grow my food on a ridge, the distance between each ridge, there are other plants that I can grow, like the plantain, that I could grow in between those ridges.
Right.
All these things are, approaches that come into play when you are practicing agroecological farming activity. You don't monocrop.
I think more education needs to go on.
Absolutely, a lot of education needs to go down
to our farmers. Yes,
yeah.
As they. But we have to go now. What is just one thing that every Ghanaian listener, just in observance of the Farmers' Day, what is that one thing that every Ghanaian or every listener can do to support Ghanaian farmers?
Every listener, what he or she needs to do to support Ghanaian farmer is to feel proud of the farmer by consuming what the farmer is growing.
Okay.
And that's what I have to say. just feel good about the farmer. Make sure that whatever you are consuming is cultivated and grown by the Ghanaian farmer. And that is that.
That is that. Right. Thank you very much, Doc. We're really grateful that you made time to join us. I think it's been a very great conversation, and to see the depth of the things that you talk about. And if we're able to put them in place, I'm sure that we'll be doing very well in terms when it comes to our agriculture system in this country. Thank you so much.
Thank you
for coming.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you're most welcome.
Thank you.
All right. So that was Dr. Daniel Bassey Jr. He is an organic agronomist and also a soil management expert. And he joined me this morning for a round table discussion. And it's been a very great conversation. I'm sure you've picked a thing or two. But just before we wrap up, I want to say thank you to all our farmers from all of us here at Z. Thank you for all the good things that you're doing. Keep producing for us, because without you, we cannot continue to live. And so we're really grateful to you. If there's any farmer who's listening to us, or you know any farmer, please do well to reach out to them and express your gratitude for the good work they are doing for Mother Ghana and for you and I. All right. So happy birthday.